Sometimes the people who help the most end up being appreciated the least. And if you have ever been that person, you already know exactly what this feels like. The more available you are, the more people start treating your help like an entitlement. What started as gratitude slowly becomes expectation. What was once seen as a favor becomes something they now feel they are owed. And you are sitting there wondering when things changed, not realizing that familiarity is what happened. Familiarity can turn gratitude into expectation quietly, gradually, without a single conversation. The person carrying the load is often the first person taken for granted. Not the person who shows up occasionally. Not the person who gives when it is convenient. The one who is always there. The one who sacrifices consistently. That is the person who slowly becomes invisible. Many people do not realize your value until your help is gone. And by then, it is usually too late for a clean conversation about it. Some people resent the very hands that helped them, because your help reminds them of their own dependence. That resentment is uncomfortable, so instead of dealing with it, they pull away from you or turn on you. It sounds irrational, but human psychology is not always rational. It is strange how often loyalty is rewarded with neglect. The helper is often remembered for the one time they said no, not the 100 times they said yes. People quickly forget the sacrifices that became convenient for them. And sometimes your biggest mistake is teaching people that you will always be there, because once they believe that, they stop treating your presence like something worth protecting. The more you do for some people, the less they notice what you are doing. Not everyone hates their enemies. Some people quietly resent the people they owe. Because debt, even emotional debt, makes certain people uncomfortable. And instead of expressing gratitude, they express distance. The person who gives the most is often shocked by how little appreciation exists at the end of it all. When kindness becomes expected, gratitude disappears. Many relationships change the moment you stop overgiving. Not because the relationship was ever really about you, but because it was built on what you provided. Some people do not miss you when you are helping. They miss you when you stop. The strongest test of a relationship is what happens when you can no longer provide value. That is when you find out what you actually meant to someone. People often celebrate what you give, not necessarily who you are. Being useful and being valued are not always the same thing. And that is one of the hardest lessons a generous person ever has to learn. Sometimes the one who sacrificed the most receives the least understanding. Not because they deserved it, but because people are comfortable with what serves them, and uncomfortable with what challenges them to be grateful. Know your worth, and stop pouring yourself into people who have never once stopped to ask if your cup is full. Save this, share it with someone who needs to hear it.